Today, we are only talking about Bitcoin and how many analysts believe it's going to be $1 million a coin by 2026. We will cover what is Bitcoin as if we are explaining it to a 10-year-old. We will cover 10 facts you should know about Bitcoin, any recent adoptions of Bitcoin, supply shocks, what drives value of Bitcoin, and lastly, can Bitcoin really reach the value of $1 million per coin? Firstly, let's start explaining what is Bitcoin as if we are trying to explain it to a 10-year-old. In simple terms, this currency is difficult to corrupt. It's a global currency and it's like an online version of cash. You can use it to buy products and services, but not many shops still accepting it. Also, there are many countries that are actually banning using Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies altogether. Now, the top 10 facts you should know about. It's classified as part of cryptocurrency. It has no physical presence. There are no Bitcoin bills or coins. It has been coined as the digital version of gold. It's decentralized currency and not controlled by any authority, meaning banks or governments. Bitcoin has outperformed every asset class since 2010, and by asset class we mean government bonds, equities, currencies, commodities like gold. It was created in 2009. Every transaction is recorded publicly, so it's very difficult to copy Bitcoins, make fake ones, or spend ones you don't own. New Bitcoins are created through a process called mining, where computers solve mathematical equations and generate Bitcoin. Satoshi Nakamoto is the mysterious name associated with Bitcoin creation. The supply of Bitcoin Cash is capped at 21 million volume. Now let's touch on the recent adoptions of Bitcoin. Country El Salvador officially adopted Bitcoin as legal tender on September 7, 2021. A recent poll by YouGov has shown that 27% of US residents supported the idea of making Bitcoin a legal tender in the United States. It is the first country, El Salvador, to do so, so the cryptocurrency can be used for any transaction where the business can accept it. The US dollar still continues to be El Salvador's primary currency. And here are 5 countries that have totally banned Bitcoin. Those are China, Russia, Bangladesh, Egypt, and Morocco. In the US, we have to still expect continuous conversations about cryptocurrency regulation. Lawmakers in Washington, D.C. and across the world are trying to figure out how to establish laws and guidelines to make cryptocurrencies safer for investors and less appealing to cyber criminals. Now let's talk about supply shocks and what does it mean when Bitcoin gets halved. When the cryptocurrency was launched, the reward for confirming a block of transactions was 50 Bitcoins. In 2012, it was halved to 25 Bitcoins and it went down to 12.5 in 2016. In May 2020, miners stood to earn 6.25 Bitcoins for every new block. Block rewards for Bitcoin miners will continue to be halved every 4 years until the final Bitcoin is mined. Current estimates for mining of the final Bitcoin puts the date to somewhere in around February 2140. According to Andreas Antonopoulos, author of a book about Bitcoin's workings, the 21 million figure is actually an asymptotic cap on the number of Bitcoin in existence. In simple words, this means that while it may reach very close to the figure, the cryptocurrency will never reach that limit. And this is because block rewards and Bitcoin supply are never expressed in exact terms. The Bitcoin's code uses bit shift operators, arithmetic operators used that round decimal points to the closest, smallest integer in certain programming languages. Therefore, a total supply of 6.2589 Bitcoins will be rounded out to the closest, smallest integer, which will be in this case 6. And what drives value of Bitcoin? Simply put, this limited supply and increasing usage have driven up the value of Bitcoin. By comparison, currencies supplied by central governments, which are also called the fiat currencies, do not have hard limits, and governments are free to print any number of dollars, which drives higher inflation. The hard limit of Bitcoin supply is set at 21 million coins. Out of this, 18.77 million have already been mined, and that means 83% of all the Bitcoin that will ever come into existence have already been brought into circulation within 12 years of its creation. And by the early 2030s, and nearly a decade later, nearly 97% of Bitcoin is expected to be unearthed. So the remaining 3% will come into existence over the following century until 2140. Can Bitcoin be valued at $1 million? That's the $1 million question. But let's look at it from the macro perspective. Gold is a $10 trillion asset. Bitcoin's valuation is around 1 trillion. Now, if we compare the technology of gold and Bitcoin, Bitcoin is superior in every single way. Why? Bitcoin is more portable, divisible, and verifiable, and is scarce. So when it comes to the valuation of Bitcoin, it might be a 10x improvement to anything up to even 100x improvement from a technology standpoint. So in order for Bitcoin to hit the $1 million a coin valuation, it needs to improve by 2x of the value of gold. Bitcoin has outperformed gold since 2010. So remember, we went from $1,000 per Bitcoin in November 2013 to $4,000 in December 2016. Then we went to $40,000 in January 2021. And as of today, like around November 2021, we hit the highest $66,000 valuation. And we probably end up around $55K before end of 2021. So if Bitcoin simply captures 2x the value, it would be a $20 trillion market cap, making Bitcoin at about $1 million. So if it was to capture just gold's market cap as of today, Bitcoin would be of the equivalent around $500,000. The pricing of the asset works with the boom and bust cycles. Gold is a very linear type of supply, meaning that there is a certain amount of gold that comes out of the ground each year. Of course, we have new mines that are opening, some are closing, which can add to the supply, but it's at a very micro level contributed to the overall gold supply availability. Gold is, for the most part, the kind of inflationary increase to the supply of gold, so it's a pretty stagnant year-over-year valuation. And Bitcoin has a very unique feature, which every 4 years there's a programmatic supply shock, meaning that in the beginning those 50 Bitcoins halved, and this supply shock repeats every 4 years. So when every 4 years Bitcoin halves, so the cuts started from 50 to 25 got cut into half again to 12.5, and then recently in May 2020 got cut to 6.25. So when you have an asset that you try to determine its price, we have to look at the estimated supply and estimated demand. So you normally have two inputs to the equation: what is the supply and what is the demand in an asset like gold or stock or anything other. The market estimates the market estimates the supply and the demand, and it has been doing so quite accurately over the past years. Bitcoin is very unique because we have an actual proof of the existing supply on the blockchain. We know that the maximum demand can only ever be 21 million bitcoins. There is 18.6 million of bitcoins, give or take, that actually are in circulation today. So if you look at the demand over the last 10 years and the growth, you can extrapolate it out. When these supply shocks, which are the halving of the Bitcoin, happen, it leads to significant price appreciation as the asset gets repriced because there's a supply shock. Supply shock and demand shock are both positive for the price, so it's like a rocket fuel for Bitcoin. So what is on the horizon in 2024? We already know that another supply shock is going to happen, and within the 18 to 24 months following the last supply shock, therefore around 2026, we should expect Bitcoin to be $1 million per coin. Theoretically, there are 5 things money should be doing for us: the visibility, durability, recognizability, portability, and scarcity. Bitcoin essentially perfects all of these properties, which is hard to find across any other assets, currencies, or cryptocurrencies today. Bitcoin has a huge established network effect too. It gained a significant first mover advantage in a multi-sided marketplace. And this is, my friends, what makes Bitcoin $1 million a coin in the next 5 to 6 years. I'm definitely investing. Are you? I hope you loved this video and learned some macro level facts, trends about Bitcoins. We are living through the most disruptive technological times. We shouldn't resist the change, but embrace it. Remember, those who educate themselves on the new technological advances can create unique business opportunities and big wealth for their families. Please like the video and subscribe to become part of our business channel. Till next time, ciao my friends.